Let's get started. Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the last town hall of this year. We are trying out a new setup with Teams with some new features. So bear with us with some of the technology, but I think so far so good. Very happy that you're all here for this clinical informatics town hall. We have a few more weeks till the end of the year, and we would like to take the opportunity to look a little bit back at 2024, but also look a little bit forward towards next year. We have an exciting agenda lined up for today. I'll cover a couple of key news items, some highlights of the last quarter, and then different from the last town hall, where we focus more on our business categories, we will focus on a couple of functional areas within the CI business: service and solution delivery, clinical excellence, regulatory, and marketing. Who will share with us some of the key achievements of this year and some of the have been driving, which are contributing to our overall success. I will then come back, look a little bit forward at 2025, what our focus areas will be, and there will be room for Q&A. So I would like to invite you all to type questions. We also already saw questions in Viva Engage, which we will cover. But during the meeting, you can also in the chat add questions for the whole team, and we will do our best to answer those at the end. So let's get into it. First, let me maybe start with RSNA insights from my point of view. Of course, this is one of the biggest shows that Philips joins, and you see here the picture of the opening in the morning on Sunday morning with the overall Philips team basically listening to the kickoff. The main thing that you see different here is that we have started to use our new branding, which you maybe can clearly see. We moved away from the colors, and it was actually quite exciting to see how, let's say, the new Philips branding came out and very well recognized. So I hope you can appreciate that. In terms of participants, we clearly saw that we are back to the levels of before COVID. So a lot of participation and a lot of customers wanting to see not only our products, but in general, all the products and solutions that the different vendors are offering. Now, maybe to focus a little bit on some key takeaways from my point of view, I think there was a lot of focus on AI across the board, not only AI on image analysis, where of course we have our AI manager and our AV platform that are center solutions there, but also a lot of focus on generative AI and how that can be applied into the radiology workflow. So I think that's a very exciting area to follow and also to see how that will evolve over time. Surprisingly, at the radiology show, we also demonstrated digital pathology. And as you can see also in the number of demos on the right, we did 57 demos on digital pathology and integrated diagnostics. So there was also a lot of interest, although it's a radiology show, in digital pathology, and also how we are integrating pathology with radiology, our so-called RedPath solution, which was nice to see. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in one of the customer interactions on how they see that. Integrated diagnostics obviously was a key part, and that actually made a nice link also to our prostate offerings and our urology offerings, because I think that's really an opportunity where we are already integrating radiology, a lot of the radiology information, and bringing that to urology to do the image-guided biopsies. And you don't see that here in the picture, but Greg, one of our sales colleagues, was there, and there were a lot of demos also done on image-guided biopsy, because of course there's a strong link to radiology as well. So we were very well represented. A lot of customer interactions. I'll share a couple of examples of the discussions that I had. Maybe key theme across 3 to 4 of those meetings was that we see more and more heads of radiology integrating pathology as a part of their scope. So across different regions, that signal came through that there's more of a diagnostic department being formed, which is of course great and aligns very much with our strategy of integrating radiology and pathology. On digital pathology itself, we had quite some discussions with some of the academic centers, and the work that we have been doing with NYU definitely resonates, because there's press releases out there And for instance, NYP, who is also a big site in New York, said, yeah, we would like to achieve some of the same things that you are achieving with NYU. So it also creates a competition between these centers. So I think it's really powerful that yeah, we have those big visible sites. Hence, it also shows the importance of delivering those with the right level of quality and focus. Prostate I already talked a little bit about, so good discussion with, for instance, Duke Medical Center on integrating data around the prostate workflow, not only for diagnostics, but also to start treating those patients. And that's, of course, with, for instance, focal therapy, which is very much in line with the strategy that we have as well in DMS, where we are also starting to move more and more towards an interventional solution. And last but not least, if we think of AV, across the board, I think the applications are appreciated and a lot of demos were done, but cardiac definitely stands out, a lot of interest there. And also the focus that we have in our roadmap on for instance, CT FFR is a hot topic across the board, where people are trying to find the right solution for them. So I think in general, pretty strong RSNA. We clearly are differentiating with the combination of our imaging systems with informatics. And Kristen will talk a little bit more about how we do that in her marketing update. So I won't share too much there. Competition-wise, GE, Siemens, traditional kind of competitiveness in the imaging devices. I think less on the informatics side, to be honest, although they are starting to enter that. United was very big. That's I think something to look out for. United Imaging, a Chinese vendor, has grown dramatically in China, but also now starting to create footprint outside of China, and they are heavily funded. So they actually had the biggest booth of the whole RSNA, so which was quite an impressive one. And then, of course, in our space, we are competing, or a lot of competition on the AI front, AI platforms, but also companies like DeepHealth that are creating kind of a radiology workflow solution, including AI as well as PACS, which is something we definitely need to look out for. I think that's it on RSNA. So let's maybe switch to the next topic as part of this news update, which is our employee engagement survey. Look, this is very important to me. People engagement is key. I think it's kind of the entry point for being allowed to do business. And yeah, I have to thank everybody here. I don't want to thank you for your engagement because that's what you of course deliver. But we had a big jump up in engagement, as you can see, with 85% participation rate, but also from 80% to 84% in engagement, which is really great to see that we are continuously improving that. And I think that says a lot about the culture that we are trying to create, which is also a big part of the management agenda that we are trying to drive in CI. Engagement drivers also up from 69% to 72%. And then, confidence in the success of Philips is one area where we really need to deep dive. We see there that it's slightly declining, but obviously that number being at 65 to 64%. Is not high enough. We want that also to be in the 80 range. I think there's a couple of areas that we should focus on. That also has to do, of course, with the position of Philips, but we definitely want to deep dive that topic to see together how we can take that to the next level. I think maybe others, let me not go there. Maybe let me invite Paul briefly to also reflect a bit on this and also to talk about the next steps that we will be taking as a part of these results.
Yes, thanks, Martijn. And indeed, these are very high-level results, very high-level percentages, but really great to recognize the steps that we did on the engagement, like Martijn mentioned. What we will be doing, because this is of course showing how much people, how much of you basically shared whether you agree with the statement, yes or no. What we will be doing in the next weeks. So I think it will be maybe still a couple this year, but the majority will be early next year. We will definitely organize deep dives with all of you, really to understand what's the dynamics behind the numbers. So what's the dynamics behind the confidence in the future success of Philips? Is it directly, for instance, related towards Philips overall as a company? Is it directly related to clinical informatics, EI overall? So we would love to get that coloring of the numbers from all of you. One other topic which tends to be consistently lower is as well around our processes, whether it enables everyone to really get the most out of their role and get to truly impact. That's also a topic that we as a CILT will deep dive on in our offsite in January. So more to come on that after all of your deep dives, but also after the CILT offsite, where we'll share more around what are we going to do with all your feedback based on the engagement survey. So more to come. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, then let's look at some of the financials. These are some of the results year to date. So starting with order intake, you see that we have grown our order intake with 1%. The reason that that box is red is that in our AOP we actually have a much higher growth number. There are several reasons for this. We see that in digital pathology we are not growing the order intake at the levels that we wanted to, and we also see some headwinds in China, especially in the AV business, related to the China market situation, which actually leads to a lower order intake. Still, we see that the other regions and also across the other propositions we are growing at the rates that we want, but the combination of those two basically leads to this kind of flat / 1% growth in order intake. And this is obviously a challenge if we think also of our plan in 2025. So a lot of focus on order intake as part of our management agenda, and more on that also for next year. Sales you see at 8%, although it's red because it's slightly below AOP. We're very happy with the growth rate in sales. So we are continuously delivering on our sales growth. Great efforts from all the teams to deliver every quarter all of the installations that we need to deliver to get our sales in. And also there, I think we have an outlook to end the year on green, which would be a great achievement for us all. And then last but not least, on track for profitability, which is amazing. We had a big step up compared to last year, also compared to the year before. And as you can see, we're in the green, which means that we are profitable as a business year to date. And the outlook for the rest of the year with some pluses and minuses, we are all fingers crossed. We will also end the year on a positive, which again is an amazing achievement. So my expectation is that you see also in the bottom full year outlook, order intake we will not recover, sales and profitability we have a very good shot of hitting that for the end of the year. So congrats to all on that. Next slide to finish my section. So if I just look back at 2024, what have we done? Obviously, big focus on customer needs. I see this across the board where the clinical design and product management teams together with R&D are really starting to drive. Have always done that, but I see definitely a step up there in really understanding customer needs and creating roadmaps that are directly linked to that. We have also started on new clinical collaborations, which Pazit will also cover in her section. Now we see continuous growth in sales, right? So year-over-year sales growth. As mentioned before, we are considered a growth business, so we need to show that growth in sales. That is also expected of us. And 8% is higher than the average in Philips. Therefore we are growing faster, which is also what we need to do. Biggest achievement, I would say, is that for the first year overall CI, we are profitable. And this is 1 year earlier than our strategic plan. So it's always good. We want to become profitable. We want to contribute to the bottom line of Philips. But also the fact that we have done this 1 year earlier is the combined effort of all the teams in making that happen. It's on one side, good cost control, and on the other side, solid growth on the top line. So yeah, I'm very happy with that, and we should all be happy with that. So still fingers crossed till the end of the year, but very positive outlook. And then last but not least, maybe even the most important is the culture that we have created. It comes back in the EES, but I also feel it every day when I engage with the teams. I think people are in general happy to work in CI. Obviously, we also have to make sometimes difficult decisions. So OIG, I don't want to forget about that. We have made quite some big reductions in that space. So for those teams that are still very much engaged to serve our customers, I also want to give a big kudos to them because there's a big impact, but I see there that they are really stepping up and helping CI also win with our OIG customers, which it's very important to keep them happy. So thank you specifically also to that team. Yeah, with that, let's go to the sections of the different functions. We'll start with Gert, who will talk about some of the achievements in sales and service delivery, in service and solution delivery. Yeah. See you, Gert.
Thank you, Martijn. And thank you for having this great function here at the table. It's one of the biggest actually in CI nowadays. We have last year created a complete new organization within CI, and this year actually was focused on organizing. And as you can see on the screen, don't even look at the detail, but when you run a business like this with so many people around the globe, you need some structure. So we started to create a strong plan. Thereafter, we have, let's say, built a performance view on the entire, let's say, 360 view of what it takes to deliver excellent service to our customer. And in parallel, while we are forming and norming, we are actually also started transforming. And with that, with our partners in Informatics Excellence, we started a full service transformation program consisting of multiple work streams, and we are actually on a roll there as well. That is not easy, but as you can see on the next slide, it actually starts paying off. Our DMS teams have forward leaped in adopting new project management practices in so-called also digital solutions like PS Cloud. And some of our teams around the globe in all the different portfolios from oncology to pathology, NAV, have started to adopt ServiceNow. And this is our stepping stone towards digital service experience to make it a lot more easy for the customer to access our teams. And it's real, as you can see on screen. Again, don't look too much at the detail, but today we are live in enterprise informatics across the board, and we have like 14,000 interactions open as we speak, with a CSAT of above 90%, which is awesome. We are showing that we're making it a lot more simplified for our customer to engage with us. Next slide, please. Now, next to that, I'm also very proud to highlight this team. They have consistently growing the customer feedback. Our NPS is growing and is basically reaching year to date 76 NPS from our customers. We have our people who are around now 270 people around the globe have, let's say, delivered an engagement score of 86%, which is absolutely astonishing, knowing that this crew primarily came from below 50s. Yeah. So, and it's not me, it's not the team of CILT, it's the team together that made this revive, if you will. This team also delivers the revenues, and that's a tough job nowadays, again, across the globe, but also partnering with other partners like NCT and NMR. It doesn't go automatically. It needs a lot of bonding and a lot of forward marching together. And so far, we have delivered year to date above the 200 million, and we are on a roll to probably and likely end, let's say, on AOP in the end of year, as you have also seen in earlier slides from Martijn. Now, there are many more KPIs that we drive, but also here we have done all of this even with lower cost. And this is something that I think also I'm very proud of the teams, because what they do is actually to more efficiency across the board. Now, what else have we done this year? Just to call out a few things, we have started to also connect our APAC and our META friends, our China friends and our LATAM friends. We have built separated organizations with focus, and it's paying off. We have also in India, our Bangalore operations team that is really picking up the pace. They have this year made sure that 90% of our pathology customers are secure again, which was not done over the last years, actually. And we are back on track. And even they recently introduced new secure password management solutions, which actually enables us to keep our customers secure. Kudos to that team as well. What else to bring? Let me just pick up the thing. So next slide. So this was all kind of internal stuff, but the best thing to recognize this team is actually to see the external recognition. And what we see is that over the course of this year, and again, Martijn will probably also support this view, we are getting a lot less top-down escalations. It mostly is driven bottom-up. And it means it comes from our own teams where they need help. Instead of the customers asking for help via all kind of channels, we are able to take care of them faster than ever before. And we see that in several accounts, and you see on screen. I will not read them out loud. These were some of the recent ones, but these have been coming all over the year. CI service is an organization, and I prefer not to call them SSD. I call them service excellence. They are at the table with our pre-sales friends, and they are true partners in going forward and making sure we are growing. Yeah, I can only just humbly say thank you, team, and let's finish the final mile with success. And with that said, I'm handing over to Pazit.
Thank you. Thank you, Gert. Hello, everyone. I'd like to share some of the exciting work the clinical team achieved in this year, and also provide a kind of a sneak preview of what's to come in 2025 and beyond. So let's start with digital pathology. So right at the beginning of the year, we completed the much anticipated Boreas clinical study and achieved a successful 510(k) clearance for PIPS-5. This was a key milestone because it really allowed us to continue and serve our US customers. And a shout out to Misha and Jess for their work there. I'd also like to share that we added dedicated clinical resources for digital pathology this year, including product owners that now work closely with product management and R&D. Their job is to translate the user needs into detailed clinical requirements. Dovetailing to that, a recent initiative led by Yossi Kam, the Early Customer Engagement Program, where we partner with key sites. One of the aims of this program is to continuously gather feedback from our users and then funnel it back into the development. This is a crucial approach to really ensure that we accurately capture our customer needs, and we will reinforce this next year as we start our development for PIP 6.1 and EPS. And then just highlighting one highlight from the innovation side, a new multi-year collaboration with NYU where we will co-develop new AI algorithms. We just recently completed the design of the first protocol, and we are set up to start this program, kick it off at the beginning of 2025. Next slide, please. Moving on to AV. So let's start with product development. And it was an extremely busy year where we were focused on AVW16 with the new multimodality viewer, new generation of liver CT, and our two big suites, our cardiac suite and a vascular suite. Our team, as Martijn said, is focused on our customers and their needs, right? And in AV, it's about automation, AI, workflow, and deep clinical insights. So what did we do? We finalized the development of AI algorithms with focus on better performance, reliability, and accuracy, and then integrated this AI into a new intuitive, flexible workflows that extend from diagnosis through planning all the way into the cath lab. Our aim is to increase the efficiency and the quality for the reading physician, as well as boost the confidence of the interventionalist, cardiologist or interventional radiologist in the cath lab, and ultimately support better care for patients. And you can see some of the images there. We recently successfully completed validation. On the right, you see an image from our usability and validation session in Eindhoven in September. We received very positive feedback. Again, very positive feedback from users, variety of users, radiologists, cardiologists, interventional radiologists, interventional cardiologists. So a lot of great stuff. And now we're at the next stage of the clinical studies. We're ready to go with the big studies for cardiac CT and vascular suites, which will be completed around February of 2025. The evidence of these studies will serve as part of our 510(k) submission, and Donna will talk more about the submission in a few minutes. So a lot more to come in 2025, and I personally cannot wait to get these products in the hands of customers and to the benefit of their patients. Next slide, please. Very productive year also on the innovation side. And we continued our organic clinical innovation through clinical partnership. That's an important point. That is with key sites, as well as collaborating with our partners in CT, MR, and IGT. This year, partnering with major institutions, we are part of several large consortiums that are medtech, pharma, and hospitals, part of the public-private partnership. You can see 3 of them here on this slide: Combined CT, Symphony, and Grace. Combined CT and Symphony are both projects that provide an end-to-end solution to enhance both diagnosis and patient care. Combined CT focusing on coronary artery disease. Symphony focusing on vascular disease. You can see in the image, one back, in the image that it's focusing on aortic aneurysm. And then the next level of generation of imaging and biomarkers. On the left, Grace, a quantitative perfusion with cardiac MR. And on the right, you can see perivascular fat on CT, both really important biomarkers in cardiac disease. Next slide, please. So we have a very robust innovation program in cardiovascular, but we go further. We have a very robust innovation program also for abdomen and chest. And we're very proud here. On the right, you see an image of the kickoff of the Imagine program with Utrecht. Also in partnership with our MR colleague. This program is focused on liver disease, both diagnosis and intervention. And you can see from the images, we have a whole program both on CT and MR liver, going from full automation of segmentation on the diagnostic phase, and then adding on multimodality surgical planning and reporting with LIRADS. In a similar vein, we have a full program for chest, again, powered by AI, automation of lung, lobes, and airway segmentation, and then building on top of that, disease detection, quantification models, focusing on chronic lung disease and lung cancer. And here we're teaming up again with multiple institutions. I'd like to point out Lyon as being one of our key sites. And as Martijn mentioned, Gen AI is a very hot topic, and we've been exploring the potential of Gen AI internally for some time. Now we have a new collaboration with several major institutions and with our radiology informatics colleagues. And we've identified several promising clinical workflows as first use cases and already preparing proposals for several grants. In parallel, we identified the need to develop a solid evidence strategy for this type of new AI that poses new challenges. And we're very excited that one of our projects was selected to an evidence sandbox where together with partners in the industry, regulators, and physicians, we will help shape the evidence strategy, really essential for us to be able to take these type of products to market. And this project is led by Emily. So a lot was accomplished this year, and I want to take this opportunity to shout out to my amazing team. It's really setting us up for successful 2025, both in digital pathology and in AV/AI, with new product launches in 2025. I hope you're convinced that we have a strong, diverse innovation pipeline, and most importantly, that it's supported by a robust clinical partnership that is really critical for our success. And with that, I'll leave it to Donna.
Thank you, Pazit. So I'm really happy to share with you today some of the activities of the Regulatory Affairs function. I think, as most of you know, the Regulatory Affairs function is responsible not only, but also to obtaining approvals in the different countries with the regulatory authorities. So an example for that would be in Europe, working with a notified body to obtaining an EU MDR certificate, or in the US doing 510K FDA submissions to get clearance. And basically those approvals then allow us to place our devices on the market and get to users and patients. Last week, I marked 1 year with Philips. And as I reflect on 2024, which has been a very eventful and productive year, I want to share some of the accomplishments and activities of my great team this year. And I will focus on two key areas. The first one is on how we enhance our way of work and prioritize patient safety and put compliance as our highest priority. And some examples of that from this year have been we've adopted and implemented the external requirements into QMS product and services process across CI. And basically this enables us for the regulatory team to receive information and new standards, new requirements coming in from regulatory authorities, and then work in the business with the different functional subject matter experts to identify any potential compliance gaps and then also close these gaps so we stay compliant and basically stay state of the art at any given time for both our products and processes. We've also completed several months of work of data mining, collecting, and building up the RIMSYS regulatory tool deployment, which will go live in a couple of months. The RIMSYS is a Philips-wide regulatory information management system, which will enable and help digitize some of the regulatory activities globally, and will also act as a depository for regulatory approvals. So this will hopefully shorten time to market for both MLD and new products in the different countries, but it will also enable us to know the regulatory status of every product whenever we need to. For digital pathology, a bit over a year ago, DCP has transitioned to QMS and to QMS 167. For regulatory and that transition, we spent several months led by Patricia from my team to streamline this transition and resolve inconsistencies, duplicacies, and errors in the regulatory-owned procedures, and also conduct a 2-day workshop with the team to clarify the new structure and train them on it. And I think as we look to the future and to the upcoming potential changes in the QMS landscape, this is a great example of how we can make this transition more efficient, and definitely an example that we can learn from. The other key area that I want to focus on is for new products and how we advance innovation through regulatory approval success. We have a lot of activities going on, many more planned for 2025, but just to touch on some of the accomplishments this year. So for AVI, early this year, we had 3 successful pre-submission meetings with FDA aimed to get feedback mainly on the proposed clinical studies, some of which Pazit touched on, that later on go to support and serve as evidence for our 510(k) submissions. All 3 pre-submission meetings were very successful with concrete and positive feedback from FDA, and these serve us as we strategize and prepare for these submissions for applications that will go in 2025. We've also recently submitted the CT liver application to FDA, and that's under review at the moment. We had our first AVW on cloud, MR on cloud pilot launched with us approving placing that on the market for both US and Europe. And we completed all AVW 15 global registrations worldwide, with the exception of China. And this enables our customer to access the latest improvements and enhancements and versions of that software worldwide. For digital pathology, we received the long-awaited PIPS 5.1 FDA clearance. And also recently, we received the Beacon monitor clearance in the US. PIPS 5 tomorrow, but hopefully alleviating the needs for both the install-based customers in the US, but also for new customers. And then for DMS, Urinav, basically the first Urinav EU MDR placing on the market, Urinav 422. We completed all regulatory activities to be able to place that on the market. This as well will be supporting upgrades, but also new customers. To the next slide, please. And as we look into 2025, and maybe my takeaway for you from overviewing our activities is to really perceive regulatory affairs as an enabling function within the business, a proactive and a collaborative partner that helps drive innovation, accelerate the market access, and support business goals. Whether it's through our involvement in early development projects where we collaborate tightly, cross-functionally to streamline the submission strategy and process and hopefully bring those products to market faster. Whether it's global market access, where we look at the different changing requirements and ever-evolving regulations worldwide, and to adapt and to be able to adhere to these requirements, currently maybe with a specific focus around AI based on our vision, but that could also be other topics as well. And also to prioritize our impactful markets and where we really want to make a change. And lastly, business alignment. We focus on the regulatory pathways to reduce the time to approval, but without compromising on quality and safety. We work closely with the different functions in the business to align on priorities and to make sure that we hit the business goals and help make clinical informatics to a growth and profitable in the future. And thank you. And with that, I hand it over to Kristen.
Thanks, Donna. So now we come to marketing, and we have the opportunity to help shape our customers' perspectives, engage them, and strengthen their understanding and awareness of the amazing portfolio that we have. 2024 was a busy year, and I think a really successful year in building the positioning of our proposition, strengthening and building it, as well as promoting our brand. Overall, at Philips, we have launched a new brand, and Martijn showed you some of the visualization of that at RSNA. Philips was recognized with the best booth at RSNA, which was an exciting acknowledgement of our refresh. We're refreshing who we are as Philips, as well as moving forward with the brand promise of helping to deliver better care for more people. So you'll see that in the work that we're doing. I think if you listened, of course, to our speakers today and everything that Pazit is doing in our regulatory and our service, our healthcare customers are struggling. They have real challenges in workflow, in processes that don't work for them, in needing the clinical insights, and that is the beauty of our portfolio. We are automating workflows. We're delivering the clinical insights they need and taking the non-value added work out of their processes. So as a marketing team, we have the opportunity to help promote that and bring that to market. This year, we had several accomplishments in just building the foundations for our teams around the globe with our positioning in our AVAI portfolio. We work closely with our radiology partners to target the radiology audience and bring forward the strength of our AV and AI solutions into the radiology audience, as well, of course, in cardiology. In our urology portfolio, we've created tools and continue to expand our marketing reach with our DynaCAD and Urinav solutions. As a market leader in the space in the US, we're continuing to reinforce the positioning and brand with our marketing activities, and also working to bring these capabilities to outside of the US, in Japan and India with some of the first events, helping those teams launch those engagement with the marketing tools that they need. And then, of course, our digital pathology. We have, for the last 18 months, been helping, along with the delivery of our commercial teams and our product teams, to regain the leadership position that we have in digital pathology from a visibility and a branding perspective. What you see on this slide are just some of the press releases that we had this year, and I think it's a moment for all of us to be very proud of the accomplishments and advancements. And this is in both customer sites, as Martijn had mentioned, with NYU. Also, just recently, this month, in November, we had a press release with Hackensack, who was actually utilizing our DynaCAD platform and the workflow efficiencies, where the solution helps save time and take manual steps out of their process to support their data transfer into their treatment. We've got exciting things happening in digital pathology around the globe. This isn't all of our press releases. We have other things in markets. But you can see what we are doing truly in clinical informatics is helping to deliver better care for more people. And as a marketing team, we're excited to bring this to market. So just an ask as we move forward, when you see opportunities and great things happening at customer accounts and activities that you'd like us to share, please reach out and make sure we're aware, because sometimes we can help to really uplift this and build this into our positioning and stories. So Chris, if you want to move to the next slide. So beyond strengthening in brand, we're getting deep into how we help deliver leads, how we help engage with our customers after they understand our brand positioning and our value. We are incredibly proud of the hard work the team has done to dig into our capabilities and processes and deliver some real results. So from a marketing perspective, digital marketing is important, right? Having presence when people use search engines to help find maybe a digital pathology solution provider, we want to show up. Now, because of a bit of our history and what's happened at Philips over the past couple of years with some of the restructuring, the digital website management had kind of gotten lost. And so our team stepped in with the markets and led a project that actually has been recognized at the health systems marketing level to fix this and dig in and clean up the website and optimize the website for search. So in the digital pathology space, we've made great accomplishments. We're not done. We continue to develop those improvements, not only in the US, but now in the markets around the globe, to make sure that we are visible and that we're driving lead generation. We realize terrific results from that in terms of turning around lead generation, early identification of people who are looking for our solutions. And from an investment perspective, the costs are not high to do this, and the value is significant in the return. In a few highlights, in addition to our work in the digital space, obviously we love to engage with customers at events around the globe. With our portfolio, we have a significant number of events, large ones like RSNA, and smaller, intimate, hands-on sessions where, particularly with our AV teams that we do with CT and MR, to have very local and engaged opportunities for customers to get into our products and understand our products. So some of the successes, AV, we've had hands-on sessions around the globe, over 1,000 users. If you add up around the globe, these large and small sessions. We've also launched a radiology campaign that will help to support some of the digital engagement. And of course, our presence at the big events. So both locally and regionally, and we're working with the teams to help make sure they're able to deploy these programs relatively simply and consistently, but also help return the value of those customer engagements back to our commercial organization so that they can follow up and drive order growth. And finally, some highlights in our DMS team. The US we have a leadership position, and that team doesn't need much help. But from a marketing perspective, we did an update this year and have helped to enhance the visibility of the solutions with providing marketing promotional materials, and we had success in introducing social media and some assets to that to really help support the leadership position and visibility into this market. Very successful, the DMS team with AUA this year and the number of opportunities, and we're really looking forward to even more expansion as we move into 2025. So if we want to move to the next slide. So finally, I wanted to highlight, we talked about brand and positioning, talked about digital, and now the other really important aspect of our marketing asset work and programs is sales enablement. And I want to highlight the work that has been done with our imaging team this year. So clinical informatics, the AV team is partnering deeply across the BU and with the regions on improving our co-sell positioning. And this year we took on a project to revamp how we position, what we're positioning in terms of the sales enablement tools, as well as training. And this cross-BU initiative, which will continue as we move forward, rolled out new positioning and sales assets with the CT and MR teams. Over 200 reps have been trained in North America, LATAM, and growth, and so reaching deeply into the zones within the growth to make sure we're able to bring this value position to our radiology customers. To enhance this even further, at RSNA just last week, we launched a new interactive tool that we're calling AI in Action. And this is a cross-BU tool that really explains the value Philips is bringing into the radiology workflows. This has CT, MR, DXR, ultrasound, plus informatics solutions that we bring the story and make it really accessible and simple to show the impact that Philips has as we bring our modalities and informatics together. We're excited to have launched this tool. We're making some enhancements to bring it forward in Q1. It's already been used in the CEC. And we'll be rolling this out as sales enablement. So really helping to make our value proposition clear and differentiated. And we'll go on quickly because I want to make sure we get to Q&A, to the next slide. So just as we move forward into next year, we'll continue the sales channel optimization, enhancing our digital presence and digital marketing capabilities, and building customer engagement and brand. So we can go on, maybe pass it back off to Martijn.
Thank you, Kristen, and thank you all the rest of the team for sharing these functional updates. Yeah, and I'll just close it off before we get into Q&A with kind of the last slide on our priorities and focus for 2025. Obviously, first and foremost, it's all about executing on our plan. And what I mean with that is what I mentioned, we have a huge focus, and we need to have a huge focus on order intake. So working together with our regions on making sure that, especially in the first half of next year, we generate enough excitement and preference with our customers to grow our order intake, which is needed to make our sales for next year. So big focus will be on that. But also in serving our existing customers, right? So we have seen from Gert all the focus that our service teams are driving. But as I mentioned earlier, we have OIG and TPS, where we have large install bases that are managed by teams in our CI business, that we need to make sure that those customers are also kept up to date and stay happy with our Philips proposition. So big focus there. Then if you look at the three propositions in terms of kind of innovation and next steps, then in digital pathology, big focus on developing our enterprise digital pathology solution. So moving digital pathology to the cloud, upgrading our install base, making sure we have upgrade programs available for them. And of course, making sure we continuously have enough scanner supply. We made a big step there this year, but we still need to make sure we continue to support the growth there. AI, Scale AI Manager, we're starting to see some big opportunities there. So further scale that proposition, execute on our AVW15 go-to-market plan. We have just started actually recently with that. So I think more opportunity there, and then start to introduce AVW16 and extend our sales channels, for instance, into IGT. And then DMS, we are starting and continuing on our international expansion, now also towards Europe. And we recently had some discussions with Canada as well, where we see big opportunities to further expand that business beyond North America. The very successful ForTec business that we have, our service model, we want to continue to grow. We had some great meetings with them at RSNA. And then with some of the new releases now coming out and getting to our regulatory processes as well, together with Donna, we have a big opportunity to sell new releases to the install base in 2025. And we're excited to get into AUA, hopefully with some great news on that front. On the more transformational side, two big programs to focus on, transforming our value chain for SaaS cloud model. You have already heard more about that in some of the people leader calls, but also other sessions, and you will definitely hear more about that. And that's mainly focused now on digital pathology and AV AI. And yeah, we have a big opportunity, as I mentioned, in DMS to expand into more interventional capabilities, which will also mean that we will need to transform the way we approach that as well. But yeah, I truly believe that's a big opportunity for us to start to play in, where we can enter a bigger part of the value chain in urology. Last but not least, it's all about impact and delivering impact with care. So our culture, the people that we have here, but also focus on our patients is obviously key. And yeah, I think we're making good strides there. So I'm excited about 2025 and looking forward to that. Last few weeks, everybody, I know everybody's on full alert to make sure we make those numbers real. And then yeah, I'm looking forward to next year as well. So with that, let's turn into Q&A. We have around 5 minutes. Chris, you will guide us through that.
Absolutely. So for those who haven't noticed it yet, the chat function is of course disabled, so you can't access it to ask your questions there, but there is a Q&A function. So if you'd like to ask a question, please pop it in there. So far, we've had 2 questions from Mathieu and Rajiv. So we've already answered them in the chat. Thanks for those questions, chaps. I have a couple of questions of my own, so long as there are no other questions coming in. My first one is for you, Martijn. So at the beginning of the session, you shared the engagement survey results. Overall, we did pretty well, it would seem. It seems like things are moving in the right direction. However, confidence and success still looks pretty low. What makes you personally believe in the success of CI?
Yeah, look, I think we have a couple of key indicators already that kind of show that we're moving in the right direction. I think success of a business long term, I think there's probably 3 metrics that are important. One is, of course, employee engagement, because that drives everything, and we're moving that in the right direction. The second one is customer satisfaction, so NPS. Gert has shown that there's actually a great progress that we are showing there, and I think we can continue to drive that as well with the focus that we have. And the third one is cash flow, and cash flow is of course a bit more difficult topic, but you need to continuously have cash flow, but we're also doing well on that. So I think the long-term indicators are there, and those will in the end will then also lead to the short-term performance indicators. The only worry I have a little bit is around order intake. I think that's the one that we really need to crack the nut on. But if we get that done, then the engine really starts turning, and then yeah, I think we can have even faster growth than the already ambitious plans that we have.
Thank you. Still no more questions in the chat. So my next question is actually on order intake. So you said that's the next nut that we have to crack. What will we do differently in 2025 to grow faster?
Trying to see if I can hand it to somebody. No. Look, there's also there a couple of factors, right? So one is obviously making sure that we have the right product market fit in the different areas. Think of Digit Pathology Europe. We need to make sure that we deliver some of the functionality that is needed to play in Europe. I think that's one area that we can really step up, and that will also help all the other regions in the domain of digital pathology. I think AV China and our co-cell is another area where hopefully we can grow, let's say, our imaging businesses, which will then help us as well. But we are also actively looking together with the China team, but also other regions, to become less dependent sometimes of the modalities and to take more control of our destiny ourselves. So I think those are at least 2 areas that are currently behind where we have dedicated plans. Yeah, there's many more to mention, but it's closely working with the regions and understanding the market needs and addressing them fast.
Sounds promising. So still no questions in the chat. I'm disappointed, everyone. So I will ask another one. Martijn, you've had enough questions.
Great.
So maybe Gert, you can answer one.
Sure.
So you presented a little bit of an update on ServiceNow. When will it be available for all of our product lines?
Oh, wow. Very specific question. Well, ServiceNow is not a target in itself, right? It is actually, how we can actually build our teams around our customer. And this doesn't, let's say, do it differently. And it doesn't automatically for every portfolio make sense. Some portfolios are in better shape in modality-oriented fashions, and some portfolios are more dependent on supply chain-oriented dynamics. So I cannot truly answer this in one way. We do know that for AV and for pathology, for particularly the enterprise segments, we are going to accelerate the throttle in January. But like, for instance, for radiology, for cardiology, for oncology, we're already there. TASI, they have already deployed their ServiceNow entry. So yeah, it's probably, I cannot answer it in one way, but I hope this gives some...
You tried.
Yeah, I tried at least, yes.
All right, so time is almost up, so I'm going to hand it back to Martijn for closing.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Chris, and thank you for the whole team for giving this update. I hope it was useful. We're gonna end the year strong. I'm convinced. So we'll look forward to January for everybody that will take a break, which I hope you do. after we have closed the year, please, yeah, get well rested, because next year is going to be another interesting dynamic. You see here that some of the key dates for beginning of next year, I won't run through them, but we'll share this as well with you. But we have a couple of things lined up in the beginning of next year to reconnect again and to really start the year strong. But as I said before, very much looking forward. Big thank you to all your efforts for this year. And yeah, let's close this year strong and then continue into next year. Happy New Year if I don't see you, and see you soon. Thank you very much.
Bye.